Okay, we're live.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Kimberly Golden-Brandt, the Director of the Livable Frederick Planning and Design Office. I want to thank you for joining us for this virtual open house. We're excited to have this opportunity to introduce the draft Sugarloaf Treasured Landscape Management Plan and, most importantly, to hear your comments. I'd like to take a moment to introduce the other members of our team who are here tonight. Tim Goodfellow, our Livable Frederick Environmental Planner, and Tim drafted the Sugarloaf Plan. Also with us tonight is John Demetrio, who is our Livable Frederick Design Planner, and Dennis Suprzinski, who is our Livable Frederick Planning Manager, will be joining us shortly. We are live streaming tonight's open house and also recording it. We'll be compiling all of the comments we received tonight and at our open house on Thursday night and providing those comments in a document to the Planning Commission for their consideration as they begin their workshops on the plan next month. So again, the plan we're introducing tonight is a draft, and it's intended to give the Planning Commission a starting point for their work. And when the Planning Commission has a Sugarloaf plan that they're satisfied with, it will advance to the County Council for their consideration. Both the Planning Commission and the County Council will conduct public hearings. So tonight we're at the beginning of what will be an extensive public review process. Tim has prepared a presentation that provides background on why a plan for the Sugarloaf area is a priority for the county and explains the connections to Livable Frederick. Tim will also review the draft plan's vision and goals and describe some of the proposed policies and initiatives. And then we'll open up the meeting for comments. So for people who are watching, we're going to share a screen and review the call-in number and the instructions, which we will display again at the end of Tim's presentation. So if you just give us a moment, we're going to do that screen share.
One minute here. Oh, excuse me. Is that clear, Kim? Is that on the screen or no?
No, not yet.
Okay. Let me try again here. Is it there now, Kim?
No.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
All right, thank you. So again, for people who are watching the live stream, when it comes time for comments, you will dial the number that you see on the screen. So that's 1-855-925-2801, and you'll enter meeting code 9006. And then to comment live, to be placed in a queue to comment live, you'll press *3. And if you wish to leave a recorded message, you'll press *2. And I recognize that there may be people tonight who are listening to the meeting via telephone and would like to watch the live stream. So for folks who are listening and want to watch the live stream, that website is www.publicinput.com. That's all one word, publicinput.com, and then /A as in Apple, and then 8632. Finally, while we have this slide up, I just wanted to note that we certainly understand that people have busy lives. So if you have friends or neighbors who'd like to comment but are unable to participate in the open houses, or if you would like to submit written comments, there is an email address there on the screen. That's sugarloafareaplan frederickcountymd.gov. So comments sent to that address will be reviewed by staff and also shared with the Planning Commission. So with that, I again thank you for joining us for the open house, and I'm going to turn it over to Tim for his presentation.
Okay, thank you, Kim. Okay, just 1 minute, please. Let's see. Just 1 minute. Getting the technology straight here. All right, trying once again. Okay, is that clear to everybody? Okay. Okay, good evening, everybody. I'm Tim Goodfellow, as Kim said, from the Livable Frederick Planning and Design Office. This evening, I will be giving an overview of the draft Sugarloaf Treasured Landscape Management Plan and present some highlights of the draft plan as well. So I'll start with several photographs of this very beautiful and bucolic Sugarloaf area landscape. As we all well know, it's a very special place, has extensive forest cover, unique habitats, and the only mountain in the Maryland Piedmont. Sugarloaf Mountain creates a vivid and indelible image in many people's minds, and the roads in the area are very picturesque also. The image there on the right is Slate Quarry Road, and the image in the upper left is Page Road. Okay. Pardon me. Technology here. Okay, so Frederick County adopted its current policy document for land use planning called the Livable Frederick Master Plan in late 2019. And I'll be using the acronym LFMP for short to reference that document. The three main sections of the LFMP are listed here: the vision, the development framework, and the action framework. There's also a thematic plan map, which is shown here. It's a generalized depiction of the primary and secondary growth areas in the county. It shows the agricultural sector and the green infrastructure sector, of which Sugarloaf is a part. Within the green infrastructure sector, the Sugarloaf area is described as a rural heritage landscape due to its unique qualities and the mountain's iconic status on the landscape in our community. These areas are deserving of additional study and planning. That's why the implementation plan for the LFMP calls for large area plans be created for the treasured landscapes in the county. Those are the Sugarloaf Mountain area, of course, the Catoctin Mountains, the Middletown Valley, and Catoctin Creek. So the implementation plan is simply a work plan. It lists possible future initiatives, plans, and other studies. Currently underway, of course, is the Sugarloaf plan, as well as the South Frederick Corridors plan. Formal kickoff of the Sugarloaf plan occurred in February of 2020 with the release of the Sugarloaf briefing book and a community meeting at Urbana High School in February 27th of last year. The briefing book is an introduction, a document for initial project scoping for the plan. It contains some history and background data and an introduction to broad issues, challenges, and opportunities to be addressed in the plan. So I have a few words on the process for reviewing and adopting a land use plan. So the plan was released just several weeks ago. We did work with an advisory group and gathered feedback and comments from them. And we are here tonight at the first of 2 open houses to begin the process. As Kim mentioned, the Planning Commission will begin their review next month, the first of many workshops that they will hold. Their charge is to create a Planning Commission recommended Sugarloaf plan and to transmit it to the County Council. That's required by state law. A Planning Commission or a Planning Board recommends a plan to the approving authority in the county. In our case, in Frederick County, that is the County Council. So the Planning Commission can change essentially anything that's in the draft plan in their creation of a recommended plan after they take public comment and input and hold public hearings. Then the County Council will begin their deliberations on the Planning Commission recommended plan. The County Council is the final decision maker on all elements in the plan, all the policies and recommendations and everything. So organization of the Sugarloaf plan is shown here with the listing of the chapters. There are multiple sections within each chapter. There's also an appendix, which acts as a repository of information and data. We have several what we call sidebar items in the plan. They're short informational pieces on topics related to the environment and conservation. We have the vision statement and goals for the plan. The vision statement describes a desired and achievable future state or condition. And the goals of the plan, I'll review those in a moment. Next are the policies and initiatives. Those are included within each chapter for context and linkage to the narratives that are in the plan. And the policies act as affirmative statements of support or intent to guide future decision making. And the initiatives are simply recommendations for action for county and private sector implementation and performance. And I'll review some of those as well. And then the Sugarloaf Rural Heritage Overlay Zoning District, I'll refer to that as the Overlay District for short. And I'll review the purpose and intent and some goals of the overlay. Okay, so here are the overall plan goals. As you can read, they are a bit broad and they're designed to shape and drive the plan. It's essentially what the plan strives to achieve. And next, I'll review a few initiatives that are in the plan. There are over 30 initiatives in the plan, and these were created to act as community enhancements, addressing quality of life issues in the area. So this first one, these are just 4 examples that I'll share this evening. To establish a Sugarloaf area forest initiative within the planning area to utilize Forest Conservation Act funds from development projects to on private lands in the study area. The Forest Conservation Act mitigation funds are from when a development project, whether it's a subdivision or a site plan, by law, state law, they're required to preserve trees on site or plant trees on site. And if they cannot do that due to constraints, they pay into a fund, and those monies have to be used to plant new forest to mitigate for the loss of forest from development projects. So one proposal is to utilize that money on private lands in the Sugarloaf area where the county would pay the landowner to plant new forest on the property planted by the county, and in return for a permanent conservation easement on the new forest plantings. The next initiative is a recommendation for establishing a network of water storage tanks for fire suppression. This is a proactive step to address future threats. With our climate change, forest fires are not only occurring out west that we've heard about for years. So this is recommended for application in the Sugarloaf area. And the last initiative is to recommendation to collaborate with the County Sheriff's Office and the Division of Public Works to apply speed calming to sections of Thurston Road and Park Mills Road to lower speed and increase safety. And the last example of an initiative that I'll explain this evening is the expansion of the Carrollton Manor Rural Legacy Area, shown on the screen there. The Rural Legacy is a land preservation program created by the state of Maryland in the late 1990s. And the state purchases conservation easements, permanent protective easements from willing sellers in return for extinguishing subdivision rights and development possibilities on land. So as you can see, the Carrollton Manor Rural Legacy Area is outlined there in blue, and it does extend into the Sugarloaf area a little bit. And the recommendation is to expand that just simply to increase options and opportunities for landowners in the area to partake in additional land preservation programs that the state of Maryland has through this one program. Okay, the next item I want to talk about is the overlay zone. So this shown on the screen is the purpose and intent statement. It's a bit lengthy and is located in the front of the draft Sugarloaf plan. And this contains the rationale for the overlay zone. It answers the questions of why it's being created and why it's needed. And direction and guidance for the overlay zone comes right from the LFMP, the Livable Frederick Master Plan, which did include recommendations for an overlay zone in the Sugarloaf area. Other foundational elements for the overlay are found in the implementation plan and the briefing book that I mentioned earlier. And these are the plan's goals. What the overlay, the overlay goals, what the overlay zoning district will achieve and how it will function. Okay, there is a regulatory component to the proposed overlay district. And it does achieve what we heard from many residents in the area and from the advisory group. The overlay zone is designed to address incompatible land uses in a highly sensitive area. It addresses scale and intensity of development. Does contain design standards for such things as building facades and lighting and other building elements. And it does have a recommended list of prohibited uses for the area. These are just three of them that these uses are permitted in the agricultural zone and the resource conservation zone, which comprise most of the zoning classifications in the Sugarloaf area. So this is the map. This is the boundary of the planning area that's in the draft plan at this point. So I just want to review the kind of the outline. So the southern boundary is the Montgomery County line here. The western boundary follows the Monocacy River, a little bit of Route 28 and Greenfield Road, back to the Monocacy River, to the north to Route 80, Fingerboard Road. And the northern boundary is Fingerboard Road and the entirety of the historic Hope Hill community. And the eastern boundary follows Route 80, some of Thurston Road, then the main stem of Bennett Creek, eastward to Interstate 270, back down to the county line. Just a few other plan recommendations I want to review. This is a new proposed land use designation or master plan designation proposed for the lands owned by Stronghold Incorporated, shown here in the green and black hatching. Now, the current and existing comprehensive plan designation for these lands is it's designated public parkland and open space. But as we all know, the lands that comprise Sugarloaf Mountain are not publicly owned. They're not owned by the state of Maryland or Frederick County or the federal government. So this new proposed land use designation is designed to distinguish the privately owned stronghold lands from the publicly owned parks. As an example, here in the dark green, this is the lands owned by the state of Maryland, the Monocacy Natural Management Resource Area. So this would be a new designation proposed on the comprehensive plan map for Stronghold. On the next slides to show, we are recommending some zoning changes to the area. The areas you see here in hatching are the areas that we are proposing for new resource conservation zoning. These areas are applied to the new resource conservation zoning is proposed for steeply sloped stream valleys, FEMA 100-year floodplain, other steep topographical gradients that are wooded. This is another area. In the center here is the north branch of Bennett Creek. This is Urbana Branch, another tributary to Bennett Creek, again shown with the hatching to indicate a proposal for application of new RC resource conservation zoning. The other recommendation here on this map is the addition of R1 residential zoning to two existing subdivisions, one here, the Amelung Estates on Park Mills Road, and the majority of the Remsburg subdivision on Roderick Road. Then the last zoning map change just shows some other tributaries to Bennett Creek or Little Bennett Creek here, with forested stream valleys with steep slopes and other wooded areas. So the next steps. We are, as Kim mentioned, we are going to be compiling all the emails we've received and will receive, and we'll take notes from tonight's meeting and Thursday night's meeting and combine all those and transmit those to the Planning Commission to begin their deliberations on the draft plan in September. As I mentioned, the Planning Commission will have their review. They'll have many workshops over several months. They will hold a public hearing. Then they will make their formal recommendations to the County Council in as I mentioned, a Planning Commission recommended Sugarloaf plan. So there are lots of opportunities for additional public input. Going further, the County Council will have a review of the plan. They will have public workshops. They will hold a public hearing, and then they will adopt a Sugarloaf plan sometime in 2022. It's unknown exactly what date. It really depends on the length of the Planning Commission review and their workshops, and then once it gets to the County Council. So that concludes my presentation. Here's just another reminder about the call-in options and the participation tonight for comments that Kim described earlier.
Yeah, so again, we're looking forward to hearing your comments tonight. If you are watching the live stream and have not yet called in, but you wish to comment, please call the number on the screen. That's 1-855-925-2801, and you'll be prompted to enter a meeting code, and that's 9006. And if you press *3, you'll be placed in a queue to comment live. If you wish to leave a recorded message, you can press *2 and do that. We do ask that you limit your comments tonight to 3 minutes, just so we can hear from as many people as possible this evening. And again, there's another open house that will be the same presentation, the same format on Thursday. So if you know folks in the community, your friends and neighbors who were not able to join us tonight, but please encourage them to join us on Thursday. Written comments, we welcome. Again, that email address is sugarloafareaplan@frederickcountymd.gov. All the written comments will be reviewed by staff and shared with the Planning Commission for their consideration. I think, Tim, we can stop sharing the screens, and we'll ask John to put through our first person for comment.
Yeah, so like Kim mentioned, if you would like to make a comment live, please press *3. And I'll give you guys a minute or two because I know there's a delay on the video. So if I see anybody log in for that, I'll jump back on and let you know. Right now, we have no one in the queue to make a comment.
That I am able to. My name is Richard Kaplowitz. I live in Frederick, Maryland, and I am definitely opposed to any change to the plan, especially the acreage along I-270. Urbana is developed, and it's developed on one side of 270. The other side of 270 is an area that is part of the Sugarloaf plan. There is no way to reward the person who has developed Urbana that he should be given that acreage to also develop. It's environmentally wrong. It's against the Livable Frederick plan. It's against any stewardship or environmental care. There are forests. There is open land. Keep the entire area without change. Do not please permit any development. Tell the person who wants to develop that area, I'm sorry, we're not rewarding you for developing Urbana by giving you extra acreage. You stay on your side of 270, hold that line, hold 270, and nothing goes on the left-hand side of 270 headed into Frederick. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment.
Of the property that is along 270, and really want that to be reinstated. That was curious that, you know, we were excited when we saw the first plan and that wasn't in the plan, and now it's very disturbing that there seems to be this area that's carved out that Natalie was boasting to my neighbor that he is putting something in there. And there was a question about whether he had put in a sewer line, And I guess I'd had a question. I sent it to you, Dennis, about the sewage that goes from Urbana. And I'm just curious now if, at this public forum, if I could find out where it is that the sewage from Urbana actually goes to. Does it go up to Frederick at the?
It does. It does go to the Ballinger Creek kind of centralized facility, the county's facility. So it does head north along Bush Creek, and eventually,
Okay.
Is treated on Ballinger Creek, kind of just. I guess it's like east of or west of the battlefield, Monocacy Battlefield, along the creek up there.
Okay.
So it does go in that direction. Yes.
I apologize to everybody. It's a little bit off topic, but it was something that I was very curious about. Thanks for answering that.
Sure.
But and I know that there are others that had a lot of comments about that, and I just wanted to, since nobody else was in queue, just to make sure that you knew that that there are a lot of us that are concerned about that. And I do know that there are people along Thurston that at one point or another had invested in land thinking that they might be able to one day develop it, and even though they knew at the time that they wouldn't. And my fear is that if this land gets developed, that those people will have a very hard time not, suing or something the county and saying, look, this guy got to do it, why can't we get to do it? So I think holding the line is very, very important, just for the mental state of all of Urbana, and of Urbana and for all of Frederick County. I think it's important for us to have this this green area. All right, I'll take my comment off. Thank you so much. I appreciate most everything else about the plan. Even the traffic calming, I think, will be fine.
Thank you.
With what I thought was the enduring livable Frederick plan for our area. I feel strongly that it should be preserved in conservation, and that the suburbanization that is taking place on the other side of 270 should not happen along Thurston Road and in those precious areas going down to Stronghold. I didn't really prepare my thoughts here, but I just wanted to make sure that my presence was known and my concern about the proposed suburban development by Natelli was not well received. I'm going to try to attend also the open house Thursday, but the timing of both of these has been difficult for me and probably for others. But I know I'm not alone in these feelings. I think it's very important to go by the livable Frederick plans that leave that portion of our neighboring area in relative undisturbed natural state. It's historic, it's ecological, environmentally important, and I don't quite understand how this change happened, but I would like to make sure that my opposition is heard. Again, Elizabeth Franklin, 2669 Thurston Road.
Thank you, Ms. Franklin.
Tractor trailer overturned on 270 and Thurston Road became a highway, and people are going 60 plus miles an hour trying to get where they need to go. And it's very frustrating as someone who lives right on the road to have, and it's dangerous to have these cars just speeding and there's curves, and it just, again, does not support it. The meeting I attended a year ago, the maps, the traffic maps were 10 years old. They were so outdated, and what is exactly going on around here. And I'm just, very concerned. The roads are not supported. Natelli wants to continue to build, but there's no infrastructure to support the building. I even was looking at the school system, and I don't have kids in elementary, middle, or high school, but they're already in the red, and he wants to build more houses. It makes no sense to me, and I don't see any other proposals of schools being built. I really hope that the council, the planning commission, and whoever is involved, please rethink this. This is a treasured part of Frederick County, and again, not just Frederick County, Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, and other parts of Maryland, and I really, truly hope that they rethink this. The person that's developing the east side of 270 just continues to develop. And again, no thought as to exactly who is living here and what we have to endure after he's done. Thank you again for listening. I appreciate you having this forum.
Excuse me, ma'am. Would you mind restating your name? Because the front end of these comments are kind of getting chopped off for some reason. I'm not sure what the issue is, but for the other callers on the line, please just restate your name at the end of your comments. Thank you. Hello, caller, are you there? Okay, I'm gonna skip to the next.
Appreciate the opportunity to express just some feedback tonight, and really just want to echo the sentiment of those who've spoken before me, in that being strongly opposed to any development west of 270. My wife and I moved to this area in 2003 and actually moved to the Villages, and we enjoyed living there for a time, but over time, Natelli and the developers there shown that they were going to maximize density in their development plans, to the point that now they're not even building standalone single-family homes. They're just these neo-traditional homes, which are within spitting distance of each other, and townhomes and high-density, apartment units and so on. So they've shown their hands that they're going to maximize density and squeeze whatever available land they have to maximum profit. And further, you have to consider the fact that you only have this undeveloped land once. And as soon as you move the lines, and as soon as you yield and you change, you cede a little bit of ground, well, then it's easy. It's much easier to then move the lines again. And we can never get this undeveloped area back again. And so what's the alternative? Are we just going to develop all of central Maryland until it's effectively, down county, Montgomery County, and we just have a, concrete world, concrete Maryland, and then you leave a little stump of Sugarloaf and call it a day. That's not a tenable plan. And, I just really encourage you to reconsider and look past the promise of profits and hold the line. Hold 270. Nothing west, no high density development west of 270. It's important, and you only have one opportunity to maintain this green space. And as soon as you take one step back and you redraw the lines, but then you can just take another chunk and another chunk back and further. So in addition to the infrastructure and the other concerns that are raised, it's just the fact that you only have this untouched land once. And as soon as you start to develop it, you set things in motion, and it's harder and harder to stop. So thank you for your time. Again, my name is Steve Laveau, live 1902 Thurston Road, and again, appreciate the opportunity to let my opinion be heard.
Thank you for calling in tonight.
On the surrounding areas. I'm not quite sure how we would develop, this property under discussion if we take into account, what are we going to do with Thurston Road to get that developed? That's the houses that are currently 50 feet back from the road. The road's going to have to be built larger with 2 lanes, with shoulders. All of a sudden, those homes are now going to be, 20 feet back. Eminent domain's going to be pulled to get that done. And that's just to go up to 80. So the other thing to consider is if you're not from around here, you don't realize it. If you're going down to Montgomery County, you're not going on 270, you're going the back road. You show the picture of Slate Quarry Road. Down here on this end of town, that's the road we use to get on the highway. Can you imagine if there's thousands of homes coming through here? That road, if it had to be improved, would be tremendously dramatic to the area. These roads, the way they are fine the way they are. There's issues with them already. The unfortunate side of it is in order to fix these issues and redevelop them would completely change the area. The other side of 270 has 355, which is already a major artery that goes north into Frederick, that goes south into Montgomery County. You have 80, you have much more infrastructure over there, and you still have open land over there. You still have land in the same kind of situation, just above Urbana, that can be developed. We're not in a position of needing this area over here. And even if you wanted to develop it, I don't understand why it wouldn't be part of this plan. This area shouldn't be taken out of this plan and placed in another when it immediately affects this plan more than it would affect an Urbana plan or a Route 85 plan. We need to think beyond just this parcel and think of how this is going to affect traffic coming in and out and going up to 80 and 85. These roads aren't made for it. The infrastructure it would take to do it would be tremendously impactful to the area, which seems to be antithetical to what we're trying to do here. And with that being said, I think the work that's been done on this is great, and I think what we're doing here is great, and I just don't want to see something, this huge carve out for one entity really drive and ruin what all the good work that's being done here. Again, this is Kevin Storm at 2131 Dixon. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Martha Hartlaub calling from 1649 Thurston Road. And I just want to second everything that's been said already. The wonderful things about this plan, I'm in support of all of the work that's been done to really protect this area. It's a wonderful, beautiful document. And unfortunately, the comments that we're hearing this evening were my concern that the carve out for development, the road network, all of that has now detracted from all of the wonderful things that this plan offers. So I second all of the issues with the road network. I live on the corner of Thurston and Slate Quarry, and one of the other callers I know mentioned the issue this morning. I took some video of it. It is a highway outside. It was car after car after car, bumper to bumper, going on these roads, and it cannot sustain that sort of traffic. And to allow further development in the area when the existing road network is not sufficient is really not applicable here. To tie in with that, I also wanted to comment on the scenic road recommendations. I don't see Thurston Road listed as one of the scenic road recommendations, so I would request for that to be considered to be added there as well. A lot of the roads listed refer to a boundary of it being Thurston Road, but Thurston Road itself doesn't seem to be on there. So thank you again, Martha Hartlaub, 1649 Thurston Road. Thanks.
Thank you for calling in, Martha.
Good evening. This is Tom Natelli with a Frederick address to 3401 of Urbana Pike. And we own property that extends south of the interchange for about a mile, with about a mile of frontage on 270. And we've been developing Urbana, by the way, for going on 30 years. And I think we've done a good job of working comprehensively with the community and the county on all of the plans and undertakings in Urbana. I've been consistent for years that as the county evaluates how to implement its plans, it should be working to balance the needs for the future, both preservation and other long-term needs like economic development. And, you know, there's been a tremendous amount of investment made into that region by the state and the county. And we are right at an interchange. And when you look at the holdings of the county for the long term, our view is that it makes sense to preserve those kinds of areas for the long term for potential economic development. I want to also mention that I I participated in a call with the advisory committee last fall to make all of these points. So I just want you to know I've been consistent about this for some time, and you know, was happy to talk to the advisory committee about it then, and I'm happy to talk about it now. So thank you very much.
Thank you for calling in.
So that is the last caller in the queue. Let's give it maybe a minute or two to. Oh, somebody else jumped in. Stand by.
Hi, this is Martha Hartlaub again, 1649 Thurston Road. Thank you for the opportunity to speak again. I appreciate Mr. Natelli calling in. There's been a lot of discussion about what the plans are for the area that's been owned. So I'm wondering if he's willing to share with folks listening today what his plans are for development of that property. Thank you.
So I don't know, there's nobody in the queue at the moment. I don't know if we want to wait a couple more minutes, if Mr. Natelli wants to respond, or if we want to wait for a few more other callers. I guess we'll just sit tight.
John, has anybody left a recorded message?
Let me look. Stand by. Okay, we have one recorded message from earlier today, and I'll play that.
This is Barbara Luxinger speaking for my husband, Peter Luxinger, and me as longtime residents of Thurston Road on our tree farm. We strenuously object to the last-minute carve-out of the boundary area on the west side of 270 for a local developer. Who is responsible for this carve-out anyway? The entire west side of 270 must be conserved and preserved to protect the natural resources of the entire area as detailed in the Sugarloaf Treasury Management Plan. We have all witnessed that one breach of such plan begets more breaches, which must not happen.
Okay, and we have one more recorded message received at 6:23 today. Okay, well, I guess that was it. And we have another person in the queue to speak, so I'll go ahead and patch them through.
Hi, this is Jim McIntosh, 1822 Parks Mill Road. I served on the committee. I have a question in reference to, Tim, you did a really good job on the plan here, but I have some questions in reference to how it relates to, family farms, and is there any change to the 3 lots in the remainder of any properties?
Okay, hello, Jim. Thanks for the comments. Yeah, there are no proposals or recommendations in the draft plan to change any subdivision potential that currently exists in the agricultural zone or the resource conservation zone. Those are the 2 primary zoning districts in the Sugarloaf area. So no proposals for changes for any subdivision potential or subdivision lot size or yield or anything, Jim.
The other thing I had in reference to, since this is going to be an overlay zone, will there be any opportunity for farmers or landholders to become, priority easement areas, mouth easements, and stuff like that? Or does that all go away because this overlay may take care of that?
No, the overlay would not impact, Jim, at all any eligibility or ranking for farms to enroll and enter into the ag preservation programs. The one recommendation to expand the rural legacy area opens up additional opportunities and options for large landowners to take advantage of some of the additional state programs. So no, the overlay would not affect any eligibility for enrollment or activity in any of the preservation programs at all.
Okay, last one real quick, and then I got one more comment, but there's a lot in here about, talking about, septic tanks and stuff like that. Are you planning to make any changes just specifically to this region for septic tanks, or is that going to become something countywide?
No, there is an initiative, a recommendation for the county to explore with the health department and the state to, examine the usage of the nitrogen reduction septic systems for non-residential uses in the future. Again, it's just a recommendation. It's not in the overlay zone. It's just an idea to put out there to address some larger septic systems that generate more flows to reduce some of the nitrogen inputs into the groundwater. But again, it's just a recommendation, an initiative to study, to consider. So it's nothing regulatory at all. It's just kind of raising the issue for more examination.
Okay, and the last thing, everybody's been talking about roads a little bit here, but I just want to make my comment. At the end of Parks Mill Road, where 355 and Parks Mill Road T, I am just absolutely surprised that none of the development had spurred just a bypass lane at Parks Mill Road and 355. When 270, again, just like Thurston Road, gets backed up, or if there's a wreck between Urbana and Frederick, everybody uses 355, and to get out of Parks Mill Road onto 355 because there's no bypass lanes, or perfect scenario would be put a circle there, but it's there's desperately need of a bypass lane and decel XL lanes for Parks Mill Road and 55. Thank you.
Okay, we have one more caller in the queue, and we also have an email. I'll patch the caller through.
Hi, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Oh, my name's Jesse. I live at 1539 Thurston Road. I'm not really sure where to begin here because I have a lot to unpack, as lots of people do. I do second what everybody had said before. I appreciate what Tim said earlier. I think that there should be some more protections to the streams in the area. I would like to just say my family's lived on this road for over 150 years. The area that's going to be developed is really big, a really big area, and as everybody had said before, the roads are a huge issue. We have lots of what I feel is poorly planned around here. You can look at the end of Dr. Perry and Big Woods Road, the light there. We have a flashing yellow yield and a flashing red stop, and it'll take you 15 to 20 minutes to get off that road sometimes. You can look at 355 and how it just sort of dead ends after the firehouse and where it used to connect. I'm really wondering about those kind of things. I'm wondering about the schools. We already have 3 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, or a middle school here. All of that's going to be going to Urbana. Then we're also taking people from the Monrovia area that are coming into Urbana. So are they going to need another high school? This really is it's a lot. It comes down to, I feel like, money that we're going to have to pay just so Mr. Natelli can make more money. I think he's already made enough. Personally, I think you just keep it on the east side of 270. It was already zoned and said to be protected as an agricultural area. And I just don't understand any good reason for it to be changed now. and I'll probably be sending emails out later with my thoughts more collected, but I will be attending every meeting that I can, and I hope my input is heard. I do have a lot of concerns to raise. It's hard to collect my thoughts now and put it all into a 3-minute time frame, you see.
Thank you very much, Jesse.
Yeah, thank you. Please do email us as well.
Yes, I plan on emailing pretty much everybody I can.
Sorry about that, Jesse. I was too quick on the trigger finger there. But thank you for your comments. So we do have one email. Do you guys want me to read this email in the meeting, or do you want to just take a look at it after the meeting?
I think we can just look at it after the meeting, John, because we've been collecting them all day, for the last several weeks too. So we'll just compile them for the Planning Commission.
Sounds good. So we currently have no one else in the queue.
So let's give it a couple of minutes, just in case anyone is dialing in now.
Okay, I'm patching one more through. And it looks like another one in the hole.
I would like to get some details as to what the genesis was for the change in the conservation overlay. Specifically, did Mr. Natale proffer this change or request this change after the advisory committee met and draft was supposed to be released, I think, at the end of March? And who made the decision in the county to change the line? And why did it take months to make this significant change, but one that also seems to be very straightforward? And did any of you as staff have any meetings with Mr. Natale and or some land use attorneys during this time? And finally, were there any other large landowners within this area plan that made similar suggestions or requests to have an overlay removed from their land? Again, this is Matt Subert, and I thank you for your questions.
So, Matt, good evening. So, during the creation and development of any comprehensive plan or master plan, including all elements of that plan, it's a very fluid and dynamic process, even up to the last minute before a plan is released for public review and consumption. During our internal reviews and discussion about the Sugarloaf plan, it became apparent that 270 warranted another look, a new focus on that required a separate planning initiative to address future land uses, potential uses and development along the corridor. The LFMP, the Livable Frederick Master Plan, does call for an Urbana community plan and a 270 corridor plan. So the decision was that this interchange area would be partitioned out to maintain the plan's full focus on conservation and environmental protection. So it was just a new focus on the 270 technology corridor, employment possibilities, opportunities for employment development in that area at some point in the future through a separate planning process.
Okay. Was it? But who actually requested the change? Was it County Executive Gardner?
Matt, this is a county-initiated draft plan created by the planning department. So this is the initial proposal out there for public review and consumption. Again, going to the Planning Commission for their input and final adoption by the county council. So this is the very first stage in this very long process to develop the Sugarloaf area plan.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Tim.
Spoke earlier, but in listening to others' comments about particularly the traffic issues on Thurston Road, I just wanted to make sure that those comments were not perceived as an interest in improving, which is to say, expanding the roads here to accommodate more traffic. This area is populated with a lot of small livestock farms, and I think it would be a huge mistake to invite more high-speed traffic. I don't think any of the people complaining about what happens when 270 has an obstruction, I don't think any of those people intended it to be taken as a need for making Thurston Road higher speed. And I would like to also make the observation that many of the buildings along Thurston Road, because they have been here for a couple hundred years, are actually inside the easement. They are sort of grandfathered in, but they are not even 50 feet off the center line. And there would be no way to expand the road without really unsettling a whole lot of people and destroying the character of this area, which I believed we were all agreed in it needed to be preserved. So just a couple more thoughts, and I will try to make a more cogent summary of my thoughts in an email. Again, Elizabeth Franklin speaking from Thurston Road. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Nick Carrera, and I live on Thurston Road at Peters Road. From the way the answerer has been ducking the question of whether it was Jan Gardner who imposed the cutout, I assume that it was Jan Gardner who created the cutout on the eastern side of the Sugarloaf overlay. So now I'm asking my question that I called to ask. In your creating a cutout, and introducing as well the idea of a community growth area that would develop property in that cutout on the west side of I-270, the draft plan already seems to be signaling that likely approval would be forthcoming for rezoning the agricultural property that Mr. Natale owns right now in the cutout. Why is the plan so forward-leaning on this issue? Have there already been discussions with owners of the property in the cutout? If so, I'd like to know which county officials participated in those discussions. Thank you. Again, I'm Nick Carrera on Thurston Road.
Hello, Nick. Thank you. First of all, the areas around the interchange, the vast majority of them are today zoned agricultural. They're agricultural and rural on the long-range plan, our comprehensive plan today. They are not within any community growth area. Community growth area boundaries, we've had those on our map since, the 1970s. But the interchange area, we're recommending that it be part of a new plan, a new study, a new initiative, a new planning process, a new plan to examine in much more detail the interchange area for future possibilities, for new uses perhaps, additional development perhaps. But right now today, there's nothing planned or approved for that interchange area because it has agricultural zoning, does not have any employment zoning, does not have residential zoning, and it's not in the long range plan today for any growth and development starting tomorrow. Again, all those decisions would be evaluated deeply and analyzed thoroughly through another planning process, whether it's a 270 corridor plan or another Urbana community plan. But today, there's no, that area is not planned or programmed for residential or commercial or industrial growth.
Hi, this is Matt Subert again. Sorry for a second bite at the apple, but I just came up with a couple more questions that I wanted to ask real quick. It was mentioned that economic expansion was a consideration in moving the line, and I was just curious as to what business possibilities were discussed. What is the vision for any future economic expansion in here? And I ask this question because when the Urbana MXD was reimagined a few years ago, part of the reason why we ended up with additional residential development was because the economic expansion that was imagined for that area just suddenly evaporated, and so a decision was made that it would be opened up to more residential development. And I'm also curious as to how many acres of actual forest cover have been exposed, if you will, to the potential for future development by moving this conservation overlay line. Thanks, and I will hang up now to listen to the rest of the call. Thank you.
Yeah, Matt, I'd have to do a quick analysis on the GIS to get the acreage of forest cover within that area around the interchange. That's a very simple process, and I can get that to you tomorrow. The acreage of forest lands within the interchange area. During the development of this plan, we did meet with several people in the community, one being Stronghold, the board of directors at Stronghold at Sugarloaf. We've had communications with some other landowners in the area, so that's nothing unusual or odd during the development of a plan. So we have met with and discussed plan issues with a handful of people in the Sugarloaf area.
Yes, hi, my name is Sandy Fair. I live up here on Thurston Road, right at the beginning, where all this development is happening right behind my house. When we moved here 20 years ago, we were told about the covenant around Sugarloaf Mountain, and that how this is all zoned agricultural, we wouldn't have anything to worry about. And now we're seeing all this development, and you said that people weren't approached. We know several people that have been approached on buying their land and offered a lot of money to buy their land. This needs to stop. Natelli does, and I second everybody's opinion on Natelli. He has enough going on the east side. And he's done scratch the back of many people in this planning commission, I think, with the library, with the YMCA and everything, just to get his way on this side. And I think enough is enough. We can't substantiate the amount of people that this is going to bring on this road. Our house is not far off the center line. Like many other people's homes are right on the center line if that road was to be enlarged or anything like that. And a road like Thurston, when it hits 109, and how many accidents happen there that they've done nothing with that area at all. There's constant orange markers out there for constant accidents, you know, and that's just with hardly anybody on, well, I shouldn't say with hardly anybody on the road, but without any type of major development on this road. I second the fact, third the fact, fifth the fact, to keep it the way that it is around Sugarloaf Mountain, to maintain the beauty of this area. We all moved here knowing that our land was protected, knowing that we were agricultural, zoned agriculture, that we can do whatever we want on our land. And we live a different lifestyle on this side than they do on the west side. On the east side, which is going to cause a lot of problems when you bring those people on this side. I think Natelli has enough. Keep them on the east side and maintain the beauty. And I think we're also on some type of register with motorcycles now on this road with scenic. Somebody said they weren't sure if we were or not, but that's why we get all these motorcycles, which they go entirely too fast on this road. We always have issues with them already. Can you imagine bringing any more people? But yeah, I think I speak with everybody else to keep him on the east side and all the development on the east side, and keep the serenity of Sugarloaf Mountain on the west side. Thank you.
Thank you for calling in.
Hi, it's Buzz McIntosh. I'm at 7001 Lily Ponds Road, and I've got a couple questions on Parks Mill Road at 2524. There's an airplane parked along the road. I'm just wondering if there's anything in the new plan, because the county's emailed me back and said it meets code to put an airplane there. But in the Frederick News Post, they say the guy's using it as a living room and to sit in there and watch TV, but there's been quite a few accidents from people stopping right there at that curve and causing accidents. And just wondering if anything's been put in the plan to stop something like that.
Hello, Buzz. No, there is nothing in the plan that addresses that kind of specific issue. It's a kind of unique placement there of that object, certainly. But if the county has said that it meets code and it's not a regulated structure, then there's really not much that we could put into the plan to address the existence of the thing there.
Well, it's causing accidents right there on one of the worst curves on Parks Mill Road, and I would imagine there's a building setback code, and if the guy is saying publicly that he's using it as a living structure, I don't see how the county can approve that, number one. I had the farm next door for sale, and it took quite a while to sell it because that was a hindrance of people saying, why is there an airplane parked there? Very odd. But it's just something, food for thought there. My other question is, across the street from me on Lily Ponds Road, I have a rubble fill, and it's been there for quite some time. I've complained. They say they're filling in the ponds at Lily Ponds, but the dirt is much higher than the landscape now, and there's just rubble and everything that's been sitting there for years now, not months, but years.
Yeah, so there is that initiative in the plan to examine traffic calming and speeding issues on Park Mills Road. So that's certainly something that the county will follow up on and hopefully adopt that recommendation and move forward on that. Now the county did do a permit search of all the history of the permits there for that that fill operation. And it's my understanding that they do have permits, and the operation has been inspected periodically by the county inspectors. But is this if this is like a new development or something, Buzz, we can check. I'll check to see what latest inspections have been done, or if any changes to the permit have been approved. But if you have anything else to add to that, please let me know now if you're still on the line, and I'll follow up with our inspection staff.
The other thing I have to add to that is you all did the river plan, and you complained about the river and the runoff and everything. Well, the dirt in the runoff on the road was unbelievable all last winter, and just the trucks going in and out, leaving the mud on Lily Ponds Road and the runoff. And my complaints finally got up the stormwater management fences and stuff, but everything was spilling into the creek there that was running right into the water. And it's just unbelievable to me that the county would approve something like that after they passed all that that stuff, the summer before, and all this stuff was approved by the county. I mean, they go and they pass all these ordinances, but then they don't follow any of them.
I will follow up on the permit and report this to the inspectors, Buzz, to make sure they are complying. They continue to comply with the sediment and erosion control issues with sediment fencing or whatever they were required to do. So I'll follow up on that with our permitting staff.
Yeah, well, the piles are still sitting out there. I'm standing on my deck right now viewing them, and they've been there for a couple of years now. And the ponds have all been filled in, and they said that they were just filling in ponds, but it's obviously a rubble fill. And usually those are not allowed in this area. So I don't get it.
Yeah, thanks. And I'll follow up on those issues, Buzz.
Okay, it looks like we currently don't have anyone in the queue.
We'll give it another moment or two. If anyone tuned in late to the live stream and needs the number to call to comment, that is 1-855-925-2801, and you'll be prompted to enter a meeting code, and that is 9006, and then you'll press *3 to be able to comment live. You can also press *2 to leave a recorded message.
I forgot to, I was so nervous when I called before to announce who I was. So I was at a meeting about, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago at the fire hall when Mr. Natelli came before us and explained how we needed a variance for the land that is now, I guess now has the Chipotle and whatnot on it, because the idea of putting in something wonderful there hadn't materialized. And I guess my question is, if he wasn't able to do something wonderful there, why are we then allowing him to do something wonderful on our side of the road, which pretty sure is not going to be something wonderful? I've said before that I would be interested in, trying to work with the county for a better bike trail along our road. we have lots of bicyclists that go along our road, which is another reason why I think it should be seen as a scenic road, as well as, of course, Porsche drivers and motorcyclists on the weekends. But I guess that's my question. What was it that Natali did with that variance before?
So
it was, you know,
that parcel, that piece you're talking about up at Maryland 80, that kind of fronts the northernmost part of what we refer to as the southern MXD, has called for and had allotted a fair amount of commercial square footage, including specifically the hotel, which was called out as far back as I want to say the late 1980s or the early 2000s when that MXD first gained approval with the county. So that particular area that you're talking about, the commercial and the hotel area, had actually been part of that MXD proposal for decades. What did change over time was the remainder, not the remainder, but really the bulk of that MXD, the mixed use district project, which had initially been conceived of as kind of a traditional office and research park. And then over time, there was a moment for a few years where it was going to become something more akin to a destination outlet mall. And then it eventually kind of reverted back to what you see today, which is much more in line with kind of an employment center, with the the federal data center, the insurance company that faces on Maryland 80, the Kite Pharmaceutical, and also this hotel and commercial core up along Maryland 80. So really what changed, I think, from the standpoint of the approvals for the Natali holdings was really kind of reverting back to something much closer to the original approvals in the 1990s, and less, with less retail than kind of momentarily popped up there in the mid 2000s or the early 2010s.
right. But so at that time, it seems like he needed something else to go in because what he wanted to do wasn't happening. And now it seems that you're saying, okay, well, we're going to wait and see what happens at this interchange area, something that's going to cause jobs. We're willing to put that in there. But I would, what I don't think I articulated well before is even if it's just a small moment on these people who live in Urbana on their day when they're going into DC, when they're going around that circle, they see that little bit of green on the other side, and they're reminded that they live in a green world. Similarly, the kids that are going to be in that new elementary school on the other side of 270, they at least have a view across to this, beautiful Sugarloaf land. And the people that are, I guess, going to go in this hotel that I wasn't aware of, they would have a pretty view across 270. Now, if instead of a sewer line, if he was going to put a tunnel so that people on our side could bicycle to Urbana safely, and if there were things that one could do in Urbana, as opposed to just the library, that would be great as well. But I guess that's my comment, that, if he hasn't done it before, why are we going to wait and say, well, we trust you now, you're a developer and you're going to bring in tax money, as opposed to saying we have a world that we want to cherish and save. And I agree with my father, who lives one farm over, that if nobody is going to call out the elephant in the room, then it must have been Jan Gardner that over this pandemic said, okay, that's fine, we're going to carve out this piece of land that so obviously should be safe. And the High Hope Farm, I'm not sure if the doctor that owns that, he has mentioned to my wife that he would like to develop that someday, and get back the money that he invested. We just don't want that. We want a world that's worth living in.
So again, I'm Johnny Carrera on Thurston Road at 2722. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Johnny.
And 2131 Dixon Road. And pretty much from what I'm gathering, based on all the comments that have been made, not a single person is for this except for Natelli. And the fact that he's looking to try to continue to expand his little empire of houses that are domino apart from each other, I see tons of property signs from American National Properties on each side of basically the villages, where he could continue to purchase that property and expand that whole east side of Urbana and be able to leave the west side basically alone, because there isn't a way that it's going to be able to support having hundreds of houses in a small condensed area the way that the villages have been built. It's not like he's talking about building 5-acre estate homes where you could fit maybe 10 houses in there. I'm sure he's going to continue with the same model and strategy that he currently has in place. So again, look to take the money that you've made off of developing the villages of Urbana and purchase the property from American National and continue to expand that side where the roads are built and the infrastructure is there to continue to expand. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Nick Carrera again. First, let me say the technology has been frustrating. I tried a number of times to call in and got bumped off each time I was first in the queue with 0 minutes, 0 seconds to wait. Then I tried to leave a message, and that failed the first time. It got through the second time, but you never answered my question. Now, let me say now, I'm getting, if I turn up the volume on my computer, I'm getting 2 audio streams. 2, count them 2. So you really can't understand what's going on by listening to the computer here. Now, point that I want to make. The concern about Mr. Natelli and his building lots of houses on the west side of I-270. Forget that. He could build a shoe shine parlor in his 381 acres there, and it would violate, it would sacrifice the line that has served us for so many years to keep development from happening on the west side of 270. All he has to do is put in something there, get his thing rezoned from agricultural to development, put in any little bitty thing, and you're going to have dozens of others on the west side of I-270 looking to cash in themselves. There's a property just right across Thurston Road from his, High Hope Farm, 200 and some acres. Did they buy that land for agriculture? No, I don't think so. And what is Mr. Natelli now doing with his property? Is he preparing to put in soybeans this year or maybe corn next year? No, he has replatted his property. Replatted, I have no idea why, but he has replatted his properties there so they will look a little bit different. Maybe that's a prelude to the development that he intends to put in. He's also taken down the existing farm-related structures, so it's clear he has no idea that he's going to be doing any farming. He wants to develop. He wants to develop, and he wants to develop. That's what Mr. Natelli does. He's a developer. Again, my name is Nick Carrera. I live happily on Thurston Road, sometimes a quiet road again. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you, Mr. Carrera.
Hi, this is Mr. Campbell. Just bought a property off the Dixon Road area. So I have a question. A road from Dixon Road going to Urbana Lake Fish Management area. There's a communication tower also. Is that a county road, city road? Who owns it? Because that road is in bad shape and needs repair. That's the one. The other question is, I know everybody's talking about Mr. Natale doing development under the Sugarloaf plan. I read it twice and I do not see where it is mentioned. I would like to hear if you point me where it is mentioned, the possible future development. Thank you.
Yeah, I believe, sir, that Dixon Road is a county maintained road. I don't know if it's the entire length of Dixon. I can check into that easily with our public works staff. So if you want to send me an email or to the Sugarloaf area plan website, email, I'll answer that for you. The draft Sugarloaf plan mentions, future possibilities in that area, possibilities needing a future plan to examine in much greater detail possibilities and potential for that area that you're referring to at the interchange. It doesn't recommend any land uses. It just talks about potentials, possibilities, needing to examine things in more detail. So that's the whole message in the Urbana Community Growth Area section within Chapter 4 of the plan.
Thank you.
Thank you for calling in.
Nobody currently in the queue.
We'll just go over the number one more time. Again, that's 1-855-925-2801, meeting code 9006, and then *3 to comment. Give it a few minutes in case anyone's dialing in.
Hi, this is Jesse again at 1539 Thurston Road. One of the points I would like to bring up is the style of housing. We have the apartments across from Burger King that were hastily seem to be really just jammed in there. We also have a set of townhouses or apartments in between the 7-Eleven and McDonald's, again, that seem to just be sandwiched in wherever they could manage to put a structure to stand. Are those going to be the same houses going in here? It just, to reiterate what a lot of people are saying, I really don't see any benefit for anyone here except for Tom Natale. And I would like to say that also there's lots of streams, fields, forests around here that as we know. I travel the streams and walk through the fields and the forests in my leisure time, I bring a backpack with me to pick up trash. Not that people are walking through the woods leaving trash, but of course, when you leave trash out at the end of your driveway for pickup, bears, raccoons, possums will drag that trash into the creek. The creek carries it down. There's trash everywhere. So I kind of want to know, is Tom Natelli going to come with me on a hot July day and pick up trash out of the creek left from all these houses when, you know, a bear wanders into his neighborhood looking for food? You know, there's just so many people have said. I just don't see any benefit to anybody except for Mr. Natelli making more money off of us. Thank you.
Jesse, just a quick answer to your one question. You know, as I mentioned before, the area by the interchange, Route 80 and 270, does not have any development zoning. It's not on the master plan for any future development at this point. So the current zoning of the properties today does not allow townhomes or apartments. In fact, it allows very, very limited agricultural subdivision, like 5 lots would probably be one of the parcels, I believe, has 5 lots remaining in its agriculturally zoned designation. But you know, today's zoning and master plan designation do not permit any development like you described, the apartments or the multifamily units.
Okay, that's good, and I understand that because in my closer down the road to me, where my great grandmother's farm was, when that was sold, they said the same thing. Someone wanted to develop. They told them that they could only have, you know, houses on certain size lots, one house at a time, and I thought that was, you know, pretty responsible compared to what they wanted to do. You know, I would prefer something like that if it has to be done, but again, as others have said, this was zoned to be, you know, protected, and I don't understand why we're trying to change that now for anyone's benefit other than Tom Natelli.
Empty queue. Still no activity.
All right, we'll give it another minute.
We have somebody in the queue.
I have been listening intently, and I just wanted to thank you guys who have been administering this remote meeting because it has been lengthy and unusual as our times currently are. So thank you very much. It's been interesting to listen to my neighbors. This is Elizabeth Franklin at 2669 Thurston Road. Thank you so much for giving us a voice.
Thank you.
I'll just take the moment of silence here to point people to a section of the Livable Frederick Master Plan that does discuss kind of some of what we've been talking about in terms of the IT-70 corridor and the Urbana community. Starting on page 43 through, I believe, 45, those pages of the Livable Frederick Master Plan, you can find a discussion in our document that talks about the IT-70 corridor specifically, and that background might be interesting or useful to those of you who have an interest in what's going on with Sugarloaf.
Hi, this is Lauren Storm again. I just wanted to make a comment in addition to what another gentleman had mentioned about the Urbana Lake access road, which is supposed to be, is part of DNR's property. But that road is in the process of being paved by the landowners that surround it. So we are taking it upon ourselves to improve that area that the entire county and area of Maryland, any visitors would like to attend. So it's in addition to the other gentleman that picks up trash and stuff along the creek. That was another thing that I do as well across my property. We have Bennett Creek runs through our property, and I'm constantly down there picking up trash that comes through from the other side of 270 and bringing trash over onto our property. So a lot of the people that live in this area are taking it upon themselves to keep up and maintain and improve the area. And I know there's also some maps and stuff that are out about DNR kind of expanding some of their role in some of the area down around the creeks. And we have been begging DNR to help with the improvement on the properties that they already own and the access road for Urbana Lake, and have failed at them helping to come and, you know, maintain that access area. There have been multiple trees that fall where us as the homeowners, because we have to use that as part of our driveway, are fully you know, being responsible and cutting them down and clearing the access road so that not only the community can access the lake, but the people for the tower that's back there are able to use it. And it's a substantial cost to us as homeowners that use that access road as our driveway, that we have to brunt the burden of all of the expenses with cutting down. You know, I had to buy chainsaws. My husband has a chainsaw. I have a chainsaw. You know, we have spent, it's probably costing us over $30,000 to pave that access road. of which isn't even considered our property. And we're not getting any help from the county, but yet the county wants to also expand their role and have more property under DNR's control of what they can abandon as well. And it's relying on us as, you know, a community to maintain. It's completely unfair. That's all. Again, this is Lauren Storm.
Well, I applaud your efforts, certainly, Ms. Storm, to have the road paved by the landowners. So I assume you've exhausted or explored communication with all the DNR staff and, you know, management and or maybe even county DPW if that section of road is owned or maintained by the county. So, you know, that's typically a government function.
Absolutely.
To take care of the road. So, good.
We have absolutely asked and begged them. They have told us there's nothing they can do. And because we use it as an access and a driveway, we are 100% responsible for maintaining the road, which is not fair that we're paying all the money to maintain the road, yet the public can still drive on it and access it and tear it up. We're having issues with drainage, with washout, which is why we're paying the exorbitant amount of money to try and have it paved versus just dumping more gravel on it because it continuously gets washed out. The trees that we're cutting down, we're basically just pulling to the side, but that's creating more backup. But that's just because we don't have a way to dispose of it. We don't have tree chopping machines that we're able to, you know, chop up every single branch that drops across the road. There's still more dead trees that will likely fall in upcoming storms and cause more disturbance that we have to go in and cut up and pull to the side. So yeah, we would like to have some support with with DNR and whoever it is that you guys can get to help us to maintain that road, because it is an extremely high expense that us and the other landowners that are sharing this access road are having to brunt the burden of.
Yeah, I will check into our you know, look at the subdivision plats and see how the road is described. And, you know, I'll consult with our Public Works Division into this issue. But yeah, I will check into that. So if you want to email me, please do, Ms. Storm.
Okay.
When I'm listening on the computer, I'm getting two audio streams. Sometimes it's the same person speaking over himself, maybe 15 or 30 seconds later, but it makes it, or it could be different people, but it's two audio streams I'm having to listen to, which makes it nearly impossible to hear what's going on. Another problem has been that I've tried repeatedly to call in. Sometimes I get through, sometimes I get kicked off saying, you know, some sort of a technical message that I've done the wrong thing. I've tried to follow your simple instructions to the letter. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And I just want to say, this underlines my contention that we need to hold these meetings live. We need to be in the same room. We need to be able to talk to one another and make ourselves heard and understood. If you continue these virtual meetings, you're not going to get the kind of input you need to do a quality response to the citizens. So please, the meetings from here on out, can't you do them live? Thanks very much. Again, it's Nick Carrera, living on Thurston Road. Bye-bye.
of appreciation for all of the planners, for all of your hard work and service to the county and for developing this plan, despite some of the issues that have been expressed here by myself and others. And I'm hoping before the meeting closes, if you would be able to summarize again the next steps for this plan for everyone listening so they understand what the next steps are for this plan to be amended and passed. Thank you.
Okay, sure. So this Thursday night, the 19th, is the second community meeting we're having on the draft plan. The Planning Commission begins their deliberation and review of the draft plan on September 15th. Will be their first workshop on the Sugarloaf area plan. That'll continue for several months. Within their workshop, within their time period, they will hold a public hearing, hopefully live in person. I can't guarantee that with the pandemic issues, but that's something we'll certainly try to do if that's possible. The Planning Commission will, again, like I mentioned, take public comment, input, emails, and they will formulate their recommended plan and send that to the county council to begin another round and set of reviews and public workshops and a public hearing before the county council will adopt a final Sugarloaf plan sometime in 2022. Again, this is the very, very first step and stage in this plan update process. Lots of other steps, lots of opportunities to have input and participate in the process. So that's about it. And then we do, we're collecting all the comments from this evening and Thursday night, and as well as any emails that are submitted to the county, they all get packaged and distributed to the Planning Commission members also.
Hi, it's Buzz McIntosh again. I was reviewing the appendix, and I was just wondering why this climate change resolution has been included in the Sugarloaf plan. I've sold a home to somebody from out west, and I just wonder if this is something for future imposing restrictions on people's properties and houses to update them before they sell them, because I know in other parts of the country they're using this to restrict people actually to update their homes before they sell them.
The county, the county has, and maybe Kim can elaborate a little bit more. There is a climate work group, I believe, was formed, and they are going to be issuing a report and with recommendations to the county council in either this month or next month. Kim, can you supply more details on that if you know?
Right, that document, Buzz, is included in the appendix because it's referenced in the climate change chapter of the plan. And as Tim mentioned, there is this climate emergency mobilization work group that is working on a report. So that it's in there again because it's referenced in the last chapter of the plan, the climate change chapter.
Well, it's absolutely concerning to me because I've sold a house to somebody from out west that this is imposed on them, and he had to do a city home inspection before he could even sell his house, and everything had to be updated to the T according to their climate change whatever before they could even sell the house. And he told me there were people that can't even afford to sell their houses because they can't afford to update their properties to the standards that were put under the climate change thing.
Right. So there's nothing like that being recommended as part of this plan. Again, that resolution is included in the appendix for informational purposes only. And there is a report that's being developed by a separate group. It's a separate effort. And if there were, I mean, as you know, if there were to be any recommendations of a regulatory nature, that would go through a public process.
Is there anybody else in the queue, John? I can't hear you, John. Nobody? Okay.
All right, well, that concludes our open house for tonight. So I want to thank everyone who took the time to review the plan and to call in and comment tonight. And we heard from a number of our stakeholders and advisory group members. So, as Tim mentioned, we've been working with that group for the past year and a half. So we appreciate you sticking with us, and we value your feedback as well as the feedback that we receive from everyone else tonight. We know there are plenty of other things that you could have done on your Tuesday night. So we appreciate you caring about the Sugarloaf area and you choosing to spend this time with us and learn more about the plan and again, offer your comments. So we'll be back here doing another open house Thursday night, and please encourage your friends and your neighbors to join us and to offer their comments on the plan. Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.